Hi there, and welcome to this web lecture on behavioral research methods. My name is Peter Ruiten, and today we will be talking about qualitative data collection. What makes an interview a scientific method? What is the importance of structure in qualitative data collection? What is qualitative data collection anyway? In this lecture, we will be discussing 4 different types of qualitative data collection. These are interviews, focus groups, observations, and diary studies. In an interview, people provide verbal information about their behavior or thoughts. Often this happens in a face-to-face conversation, as you can see in the image. When you set up your interview, it is important to think about the structure that you need in your interview. And we can distinguish between 3 different categories of structure. The first one is unstructured, then we have semi-structured and structured. In an unstructured interview, this encourages freely generated questions. This means that you, as an interviewer, can think about any question you like as long as it is about the topic that you are interested in. In a semi-structured interview, you have a set of predefined topics or questions that you want to ask about subtopics of the topic of your interest. And in a structured interview, you use the same list of questions in the same order for all the respondents that you have in these interviews. A second type of qualitative data collection is focus groups. In a focus group, people provide information to a moderator who encourages discussion and interaction. There are a few important differences between these focus groups and interviews. Let's look at a few of these. The first one is the role that you play as a researcher. In an interview, you play an active role because it is you who asks the questions, who asks the follow-up questions, and who tries to probe your respondent to give you more information. In a focus group, you take a more passive role. You try to sit back and have a discussion emerge among the group of people who you have in your focus group. As such, in this focus group, this is really about a discussion between people about a topic, and not so much about a one-on-one conversation about this topic. You have to realize that in this focus group, answers that people give to your questions are interdependent because they respond to each other. That is why those answers are dependent on what other people have been saying before. The third type of qualitative data collection is observations. In observational research, you perform a systematic description of people's behavior in natural social environments. In doing observations, you will be making all kinds of different notes. And we can distinguish between 3 different types of them. These are called jottings, field notes, and a diary. The jottings capture the essence of what you are seeing. These are the keywords that you write down when you are in the field. So usually you would take a scrapbook or a little tablet with you and just write down in keywords what you see. As soon as you get home, you translate these jottings into field notes. These field notes are the main data from your observations. And these field notes, they contain much more information than the jottings. Finally, you will also keep a diary. And this diary can give you information on how to interpret the notes that you made. Imagine that on one day, when you do observations, you feel very tired and you're not able to capture a lot of detail. And on another day, you feel very energetic and then you can capture a lot of detail. After you interpret your data, reading through your diary can help you understand why on some days you collected more data or better data than on other days. The last type of qualitative data collection is a diary study. In this diary study, people record information about activities or events in a log or a diary. Note that this diary is completed by your respondent and not by you as a researcher. When you perform a diary study, it is important to consider the following aspects. Much work goes into the planning of your diary study. Before you can send your respondent away with a diary, you have to think about the specific activities that they have to report about. You have to think about how often they will do this and how long they will be doing this. This diary study can take up to several weeks because sometimes it takes some time for people to reflect on their experiences about a certain behavior or an event. And finally, it is important to always have a post-study interview about people's experiences. These diaries and interviews can give you a lot of qualitative data. More information on how to analyze these qualitative data is provided in a web lecture on thematic analysis. So to summarize or wrap up this lecture, interviews are one-on-one conversations about people's experiences. Focus groups are discussions in groups of people where you try to encourage this discussion. In observational research, you observe people's behavior in a natural setting. And with diary studies, you collect data on a longer period of time. And that concludes today's lecture on qualitative data collection. I hope you enjoyed it and see you again next time.